If you do this one exercise for 15 minutes per day, I can guarantee you that you will speak a lot more fluently in English each and every month. Even if you are the busiest person alive, you could be the president of a country or the king or queen of a country, you should still be able to make at least 15 minutes per day in order to improve your English fluency. The exercise that I'm going to show you today is, in my opinion, by far the most efficient exercise that you could possibly use to improve not just your speaking skills, but all of your communication skills in English, all the way from reading and writing to listening comprehension, and of course, speaking and conversing spontaneously. In addition, I've helped many people over the years with their English, and very soon I will be releasing a free crash course on how you can become fully fluent in English from anywhere in the world by yourself. If you would like to watch that free lesson, I will leave a link somewhere in the description below. Now, the drill that I will teach you today, as mentioned, will work all of your English skills simultaneously. So be sure to pay close attention, because if you fail to do even one of these steps correctly, it could very well be the reason why you do not become a fluent English speaker. Now, the first step is to find a short form piece of content that interests you. And this could, of course, be on any social media platform, but a very easy one to use would be YouTube Shorts. And you would ideally want to find a video that has English subtitles. Now, when we say a short form piece of content, I'm referring to a piece of content that is typically between around 30 seconds to a minute long. It could even be shorter than this. The subtitles are going to be very important to have, and I will explain more about that in step number 2. But when it comes to finding a piece of content, the best types of content you can find would be people who are ranting, telling a story, or small and short clips from longer form content, such as a podcast or an interview about some sort of topic that interests you. This is extremely easy to find if you simply do a search on YouTube for YouTube Shorts. If you go on TikTok, Instagram Reels, Facebook Reels, or any other platform that you prefer. The most important thing is simply just that there are English subtitles with the short form videos that you are watching. The 4 platforms I just named are very good because the algorithms are very good at feeding you content that is typically relevant to your life or relevant to your particular interests. Now, once you've found a piece of content or a few short form pieces of content that interest you, this leads us to step number 2. And step number 2 involves watching and listening to your short form piece of content a few times. Throughout this drill, you should consume the piece of content a few times, maybe 2 or 3 times, just to make sure that you fully could understand what was being said. After you've watched it a few times to make sure you understood what was being said and how they were pronouncing the words, the next few times you watch it, you're going to simply shadow what the person was actually saying. So, as they are expressing themselves in the short form piece of content, you are going to be reading along with the subtitles and physically saying out loud the same thing that they're saying right after they say it, just as if you're imitating somebody. Now, with step number 2, you need to avoid the extremely common mistake, which is reading the subtitles and speaking in your head instead of physically pronouncing the words like an English speaker out loud. I know it will feel unnatural to speak and pronounce words like an English speaker because it's not your first language, but this is an absolute necessary step if you ever want to become a fluent English speaker. This is mainly the reason why so many people around the world are okay at understanding English, but they cannot speak it because they simply do not practice speaking it nearly as much as they need to. Now, after you've watched the short form content a few times and you have shadowed the content a few times as well and actually practice pronouncing the words out loud, then you're going to move to step number 3, which is to ask yourself open-ended questions regarding the video that you just watched. Now, if you're not sure what an open ended question is or how to ask yourself an open ended question, this is very easy. You can simply just go to chatgpt.com and type in 10 open ended questions to ask yourself about a video that you just watched. You can literally type in that exact prompt into ChatGPT. ChatGPT can generate you 10 open ended questions, and they could even generate more than that if you have the time and if you want to ask yourself more questions. Examples of simple open ended questions could be: how did this video make you feel? Do you agree or disagree with what was being said in the video, and why? If you were in this situation, what would you do and why? Questions with this open ended nature are going to force you to think critically and actually form an opinion and form thoughts in English that you can then express through communication. And this leads to step number 4: collect your thoughts and take note of your answers to the open ended questions. Now, as you're taking note of your answers, it would be ideal to do this on a notes application with a spell check tool that can correct your grammar. Simple applications you could use could be the Notes application on your iPhone, Google Docs on your computer, or a Microsoft Word document. All 3 of those applications have a spell check tool that will correct your grammar and correct all the mistakes you make as you're typing or writing what you're trying to articulate. As you're answering these open ended questions, try to be as elaborate as possible. Try to use complete sentences. Keep asking yourself why you feel this way, why you're answering this way. Try to be as elaborate as possible, as if you were having a deep conversation with another person. You should answer the questions as if you were being interviewed by a real person. And you should be typing them out and expressing them as if you were going to submit this to another person through a text message or an email, for example. This leads to step number 5, which is to express your thoughts aloud as if you were talking to a real person. As mentioned in step number 2, it is extremely, extremely important to speak aloud and actually train your mouth to speak like a native English speaker. You can do this when you're alone in your bedroom, when you're in the shower, when you're in your car by yourself, or any quiet place where you feel comfortable to speak out loud by yourself. Essentially, you're going to be having a conversation with yourself as if you were spontaneously or randomly having a conversation with another human being. This particular part of the exercise is really what's going to get you results in real life. After you've practiced collecting thoughts, forming opinions, and actually expressing your opinions over and over and over and over again, if you do this for 15 minutes at least per a day, it's going to be extremely natural when you come into a conversation with another English speaker at any point in time randomly. If you practiced shooting a soccer ball into the net a million times, you're going to get pretty good at it. If you practice expressing your thoughts and your opinions out loud in English a million times, it's going to be natural to you. It's going to feel like it's second nature. By doing this specific part of the exercise, you will probably never have to translate words back into your native language in your head. Speaking English and expressing yourself in English is going to be so natural that you will actually think in English. You will react in English. All of your reflexes will be essentially in English and not in your native language. So, for this exercise to work, you really shouldn't skip any of the steps. but especially this step cannot be skipped at all. You need to physically train your mouth to speak like an English speaker. If you take one thing away from this video, definitely remember that. Now, have you already done this exercise in the past, or is it completely new to you? Leave a comment down below and let me know. Also, let me know if there is any topic regarding learning English that you'd like me to make a video about in the future. Also, if this video was useful to you, please like the video so it will help the YouTube algorithm know that this video is useful for other English learners. Now, this one exercise is just the tip of the iceberg when it comes to improving your English speaking and fluency quickly. Now, if you want a more detailed breakdown on how to improve your English by yourself from anywhere in the world, be sure to watch the next video on the screen.